We start today's wrestling news and rumors video with a huge update on a former WWE superstar returning to the company, with that ex-WWE wrestler being former Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett. As some of you have likely heard, it had been revealed last night that Wade Barrett was going to be returning to the WWE to join the commentary team for tonight's episode of NXT. And while Barrett is not signed to a full-time deal with the WWE as of yet, and Wade's appearance on commentary is basically a one-off appearance, there's no doubt that most fans have already begun the speculation when it comes to Wade Barrett finally returning to the WWE to compete once again, for the first time since he asked for his release from WWE back in 2016. We had reached out to one of our sources for more information when it comes to Wade Barrett in WWE moving forward, and apparently Vince McMahon is very much interested in the possibility of re-signing Wade Barrett for an in-ring role in the main roster, and felt it was a good start to slowly mend the relationship between Wade and WWE with Barrett's NXT commentary gig. For those of you unaware, the main reason why Wade Barrett decided to ask for his release from the WWE back in 2016 stems from the fact that Wade was not a fan of the direction his character was going in WWE, as well as his position on the card as a mid-card caliber superstar, but also because Wade was reportedly burnt out to some degree from the grueling WWE travel schedule, and needed a break from the whole business to reset and reevaluate. However, in interviews over the past couple of years, Wade has made it very clear to fans that he was 99% sure he was going to eventually wrestle again, and it looks as though Wade Barrett could actually be making a return to the WWE to wrestle again very soon, with a new backstage rumor revealing that Vince believes Wade would be a fantastic addition to the Intercontinental title scene on Friday Night SmackDown, as well as an occasional main event level talent feuding for the Universal Championship in between big storylines for the brand's top champion, basically a similar role to a superstar such as The Miz or Dolph Ziggler, which certainly isn't too bad. Let us know your thoughts on Wade Barrett potentially returning to the WWE for a spot on the SmackDown roster, and if he was to return, should Wade be featured as a mid-card level talent or a main eventer like Barrett always believed he should have been? As most of you likely witnessed on this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw, former NXT champion Keith Lee made his official debut on the WWE main roster, with Keith starting off his run on Monday Night Raw in a major way by setting his sights on the Viper Randy Orton, with Keith Lee versus Randy Orton set for this coming weekend's Payback PPV event. However, the biggest talking point coming out of Keith Lee's debut on Raw is in regards to Keith having his theme song changed and his overall ring attire changed as well, both in a way that fans have stated is terrible and not an improvement in the slightest, with things getting to the point where fans started making petitions for the WWE to change Keith Lee back to the way he was presented in NXT. Not surprisingly, while new ring gear and a new theme song doesn't seem like a very big deal, it certainly highlighted many fans' fears that Keith would be misused and ruined on the main roster, hence the quick response from fans for WWE to take action and change things back. However, the WWE have reportedly taken note of the voiced opinions of fans regarding Keith Lee, as it was revealed earlier today that at Payback 2020, for Keith Lee's match against Randy Orton, Keith will be getting a new and improved theme song, with one source also mentioning that Keith's ring attire will also be changed back to what it was in NXT. So clearly, Vince has heard quite enough of fans' complaints, and changes will be implemented where Keith Lee is concerned moving forward in 2020. While we had talked in our last video about the rumors surrounding the fact that the Fiend Bray Wyatt will not be holding on to the Universal Championship for any meaningful length of time, we have been told that Vince may have changed the plan for Payback 2020 of having Roman Reigns defeat The Fiend and Braun Strowman for the Universal title. But unfortunately for the Fiend Bray Wyatt, the new rumored scenario isn't any better for him whatsoever. If you hadn't known, the Fiend Bray Wyatt recently sent out a message of forgiveness to Goldberg on Twitter, but at the same time also a bit of a warning for Goldberg to walk away from the red light if he sees it, indicating that Goldberg should be on high alert if he ends up appearing in the WWE on SmackDown very soon and sees the Fiend's red lights in the arena, something that is currently rumored to happen. Now, we had discussed recently that Goldberg is still signed under contract with the WWE, and will be returning for yet another match very soon, and apparently the plan backstage WWE officials are considering would see The Fiend somehow manage to retain his Universal Championship at Payback 2020, likely by pinning Braun Strowman with the help of Alexa Bliss while Reigns is out of the ring, only for Goldberg to return on the following week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and let fans know that he's issuing his rematch clause for the Universal title, in this case the Fiend Bray Wyatt, Wyatt, with Goldberg then winning the Universal Championship from The Fiend, with the company then moving ahead with Goldberg versus Roman Reigns for the title, like it was originally planned for WrestleMania 36, before Reigns pulled out of the show. Make sure you guys let us know your thoughts on Vince considering Goldberg to win the Universal Championship from The Fiend, only to lose the gold to Roman Reigns in late 2020, like Vince had planned for WrestleMania this year, and basically rehashing the cancelled storyline. We now have our main story for today's video, and it is regarding the monster among men and former Universal Champion Braun Strowman. Now, it cannot be argued that many wrestling fans were sure Braun Strowman would be losing the Universal title to the Fiend Bray Wyatt someway at SummerSlam 2020, likely by an interference by Alexa Bliss, but in the end, the Fiend shockingly defeated Strowman cleanly for the title win with no interruptions, and according to a new leaked backstage rumor, Braun Strowman is very unhappy not only with the way things played out at SummerSlam, but regarding how Vince McMahon views him moving forward. As most of you are well aware, the ratings and viewership for Friday Night SmackDown had been the lowest they had ever been, shortly after WrestleMania 36, and according to one of our sources, Vince had put forth a lot of the blame on the sinking ratings for the blue brand on Braun Strowman as the show's flagship Universal Champion, and we have been told that McMahon believes Strowman failed to make the best out of his surprise run as the Universal Champion, and was simply coasting along without putting in very much effort, and one source noted that the main reason why Strowman lost clean to the Fiend at SummerSlam 2020, and will again likely be the superstar taking the pin at this weekend's Payback pay-per-view event, is due to the fact that Vince has completely soured on Braun Strowman as a top star, and has no plans of ever putting Braun Strowman in a main spot like that ever again, and now sees Strowman as being best suited as either a mid-card level talent, or being one of the Fiend's new Wyatt family henchmen, essentially meaning that Strowman's career in WWE as a main event superstar is over permanently after SummerSlam 2020, and likely won't be touching World Championship gold ever again. As most of you are likely aware, the only reason Braun Strowman had won the Universal Championship in 2020 to begin with was due to the fact that Reigns had pulled out of WrestleMania 36 against Bill Goldberg, and Vince had to scramble around to find a replacement, which was later decided to be Braun Strowman. But we have been told that Vince thinks it was a big mistake and that the company should have chosen another superstar to replace Roman Reigns. Let us know if you agree with Vince McMahon that Braun Strowman is to blame for the terrible ratings on SmackDown over the past few months when he was the reigning Universal Champion, and what are your thoughts on Vince basically ending Strowman's career as a top solo star, and refusing to push Braun again in the future after his failed title reign? Make sure you sound off in the comment section down below, and do give us your thoughts and opinions on the matter.